How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to remove a battery from a C4 Corvette. First, for the parts you'll need a 10mm wrench, there, a Torx T30 bit, an 8mm socket, that is just to take the battery terminals out. And that is it. That's all the parts you'll need. The Torx is for these Torx head screws right down here in the fender well. And the 10mm wrench is for this bolt right here. And that's in front of the driver's side door and behind the battery. As well as the one that is commonly overlooked, the bolt down here at the bottom. There you go. Now that bolt to the bottom, C4 owners very frequently forget about that one. And they'll break this panel while trying to remove it because it's fiberglass. First, you'll start with your 10mm wrench and loosen this bolt right here. Next, you'll take the same 10mm wrench and going under the car, like I said, this bolt right here, you'll loosen that. You don't have to, you cannot take it all the way out because it won't come out. The gap is too small for it to come out all the way. So just loosen it enough for the panel to slide over it. And then lastly, you take with your Torx T30 bit, take these Torx bits out of the fender well, and that will allow the panel to come out the rest of the way. Here we are under the car. It's very hard to find this bolt right here. There. This one is by far the hardest one to take off. There. Now once it is loosened, there's a slot in this fiberglass fender louver panel. And it should come out with that. Take your T30 and you'll remove these all the way. These have to come all the way out. There. One of the Torx head bolts are out. And the other one is out. And like I said, don't forget about this 10mm bolt on top, because that will also break this panel. I've already loosened that one, so there. Now it is out as well. So now once you have this bolt out, these two Torx head bolts out. There should be 3, but on my car, I only have 2. The third one goes down here, so don't forget about that one either. And the bolt that is under here, once you have that loosened enough for it to slide out, for the panel to slide out, you'll take the panel, and this is a little difficult to do with one hand, but I'm going to try my best here. And that's it. It comes off. So you want to be very gentle with this panel because, like I said, it's fiberglass. It's not steel or aluminum, so it will break. Now, with your 8mm socket on your ratchet, Okay, so you'll disconnect your battery terminals. There. The negative is easy to remove because it's on the outside. The positive side's kind of buried in between your fender lining and the inside of the engine bay. So just work at that the best you can. That black hose you're seeing on the screen is the one of the hoses for the cruise control. It's a vacuum operated cruise control. There. Now the negative cable's off. Also, I forgot to mention, you'll also need a 13 millimeter socket. I didn't need this in my case because I'm just disconnecting the battery to prevent it from being drained while the car sits. But there's a battery hold down back there that you'll need a 13 millimeter and an extension to take out. And that is the same way, lefty loosey, righty tighty, to take that out. And that'll allow you to actually take the battery out, because without it being loosened, the battery's, it's stuck, it's still in the car. So that's the steps that you'll need to go through to take your battery out of your C4 Corvette. And to put it back in, it's the exact opposite. You'll make sure you get this battery holder right there. Make sure you get that out of the way when you put your new one in, or else you may accidentally put it on top of the battery. Push the battery up towards the front of the cradle because it needs to, you see right there, rest in there so it holds the battery into the car, and also so that this through bolt that screws into this battery cradle so that it can align itself with the hole that it needs to screw into. Because if you have the battery too far back, then this holder won't fit in place. For my purpose, I don't need to take the battery all the way out. I have a leaking water pump and I have the new one on order. So instead of draining the battery while the car sits, I figured I would just disconnect the battery to prevent the drainage. And that is how to remove the battery from a C4 Corvette.